Hello, friend. Welcome to Coffee Chat with Angie. I'm so glad that you are here. Have you ever thought back and you're like, okay, I'm really good at something right now, but man, I wish I knew 10, 15, 20 years ago what I know now back then, because I would be so much further than what I am. I'm sure you have. And that's exactly how I feel about just being mentally organized or clearing mental clutter or bringing chaos to calm, whatever you want to call it. I wish I had known strategies that I utilize now 20 years ago, because I feel like I would be farther than what I am today. But you know what? Life is a learning process, and that's okay. But I'm here to share with you those things today, so you don't have to take the time to figure that out 20 years from now. My name is Angie. I am a personal strategy coach. I help driven working moms create rock solid systems at home, so dinner isn't a last minute scramble, kids' logistics are not chaos, and self-care isn't an afterthought. Instead of guilt and exhaustion, you can finally feel present, energized, and in control of the life that you are building while also having time for yourself. I know that just sounds like a fairy tale sometimes, but it truly can happen. And I am living proof of that. So if you are joining me live today, please say hi in the comments. I would love to know that you're here. And if you are catching the replay, please comment #replay. I would love to know that you have watched. It would absolutely mean the world to me. So, all right. 20 years ago, I would think, oh my gosh, that person is doing amazing at the thing that I want to do, and this is how that person got there, so I'm going to do all of those things. And I literally would dive in head first. I would drop everything else that I was focusing on or working on, and I would chase after the thing in the way that that person was doing it, because they were getting good results, right? And the results didn't work as good for me, and I would see the next thing and be like, oh my gosh, that's the way I need to do it, right? That's the way it should happen. And I would go ahead and chase after that again without the same results. And you know what? I was burnt out from going 0 to 100 and wondering why my results were not the same as the people that I was doing the same exact thing that they were doing. And then more importantly, everything that I really enjoyed in my life would be put on the back burner. And I was just not living the life that I desired in that way. So here are a couple things I learned that I want to share with you. There's 4 different things. First of all, I don't dive headfirst into things anymore in that way. I look at the big picture, so I visualize where I want to end up. Where I am now is always great to have an idea of where you're headed, right? And then 1 or 2 steps to get me started on the direction that I want to go that feel really good to me. And I am a person just naturally that needs to know A through Z in order to start anything. And I feel like that really probably for me is more of a procrastination method and the fear of getting started. So let me tell you, I had to lean into faith a lot in this process of just knowing where I wanted to end up, maybe knowing the first couple steps to get started, but relying that, you know what, the Lord is gonna bring to me the next step that I need in perfect timing and just to get started where I'm at. So that's the first thing, is I stopped like trying to map everything out to a T, and I started to visualize where I wanted to be, and then also just 1 or 2 steps in order to get me started. The second thing I learned was when I implemented something or put a strategy in place, I wanted it to play to my strengths. One of the things that I had noticed when I was running after and doing these exact steps that other people were doing to get success was it just kind of didn't feel like me. Have you ever done anything like that where you're just like, you know what, this doesn't feel like Angie. It just feels like really forced, and they're having good results, so I'm going to keep doing what they're doing because that's the way that they did whatever it is that you're trying to achieve, right? And you know what? When you do that, you're not going to get the same results because it's playing into what they are strong in, not what you are strong in. And when you play into your strengths and who you are going to get the results that you desire, not results that they're getting in the same way, but results that are for you. It will attract the people that are for you, because quite honestly, I was attracting people that were not for me at all. And that's what made it so hard. So let me just give you an example. If you've heard me say examples in the past, you know that I'm passionate about meal planning. It's kind of what started this whole strategy thing moving. And so I remember a time in my life where I would meal prep. I would take a day out of the week and I would cut up all the vegetables for the meals during the week, and I would, either sort them in containers for the certain meal or for the certain day. I would maybe, like if we were having sloppy joe that week, maybe I would make the sloppy joe on, it was Sunday was my day to cook everything after church. So I would make the sloppy joe, or maybe I would cook all the chicken. And so then that way during the week, I didn't have to do that. I could go to work, I could come home. The meals were mostly prepped. Let's be real, chopping vegetables take the majority of the time when you cook a meal. So I was like, thank goodness that is done, right? But you know what? I hated it. It was exhausting. I did it because this is the way the person that I was following did it. And it made sense to do it all on one day. So you were like way far advanced than what you would be if you just started it all the night that you were having dinner. But man, I just did not like it. Now, if your personality is such where you love to cook, you like taking that one day and that's all you do is cook, and maybe while you're cooking and meal prepping meals, you're popping in some brownies and you're making muffins, and it's like just an amazing time for you, that would be your strength. Definitely utilize it. Meal prepping is probably for you. But I realized it was not for me, and I hung on to it way longer than what I should have. And I did take some really great things from this person, which were to routinely go grocery shopping, not necessarily the same day of the week, but have a strategy in place. Like, don't wait until you're out of like 5 things and the last 2 days you had to run to the store to get a grocery item before you could go grocery shopping for all of the things. That just takes more time. But to have like a strategy, maybe you go every 2 weeks, maybe you go every single week on a certain day, and that's your strategy. But that was something that I had definitely put into play from what I had learned from this person. So you can utilize what you feel is you out of something that you're learning from others. And I continue to learn from others all the time. I feel we all should. We should be surrounded by people that pull us forward, right? So take what you need to from the people you are learning from and leave what is not for you. The third thing I realized was when I went all in the way that I did, I was burnt out, exhausted, and pretty much right back to where I was started in just a couple of months. And it wasn't because I was going all in. It was because I was going all in with all of the steps. Like, I was doing all of the things immediately. Instead, what I know to do now is take 1 or 2 is stretching it. I normally say just take 1, but take 1 item, 1 strategy, 1 step out of the big puzzle and implement that. Get that under control. Do that for a little bit before you add the next step, and then add the next step after that one's under control, and continue on. Now, will you get results as quickly? Probably not. However, will they last you longer? 1,000%. I truly, truly believe when you implement something in a way that you are able to manage in your life at that moment, you will definitely hang on to that a lot longer. So that would be the third thing. Now, the fourth thing I realized I needed was, once I reached a goal or got to the end result I wanted, I found in a couple of months, sometimes I was back where I was again, and I'm like, what? I think definitely for like organization, like physical organization. How many times have you cleaned out the pantry and you're like, oh my gosh, I feel like every 3 months I have to do this over and over again? And it's probably because you don't have a system or a strategy in place at the very end to maintain what you've built. So if you are reaching a goal, if you have gotten to a certain level, if you have cleaned out your pantry and you're thinking, okay, that's good, but you know that this is not the first time you've done that and you end up right back where you were, what is your system that is going to keep that pantry clean moving forward? Because you know what, life is exhausting when 1 month we have to clean out a closet, the next month we clean out the pantry, the next month is a junk drawer, the next, and like it constantly revolves, right? It's like a never ending process. So what is your strategy for maintaining the level that you reached before it starts to fizzle apart again? So make sure that's part of your actual building, is that maintenance portion. All right, so those are the 4 things. Let's just recap this, because I wish I definitely knew these things 20 years ago now, because my life would have been so much smoother, so much smoother. So first of all, visualize what you want the end result to look like, and know where you're starting. That's important too, know where you're starting. And then just know 1 or 2 steps in order to get you started. Kind of know a path. You know, when you go on vacation, I live in Wisconsin, so if, say we're headed to Florida, I know that's south. So if I'm like, okay, I know where I'm starting, I know where I'm ending, and I know like the first couple of steps, I also kind of want to know, okay, well, are we going to be driving? Are we going to be flying? Are we going to be stopping in a certain state? Are we going to be doing any touristy things in that state? You know, you kind of want to have it a loose fitting map, not to say you can't deviate from things, but just a little bit of a vision when you start. So that's the first thing. Second, play into your strengths. And people will ask me, well, how do I know if it's my strength or not? If it feels forced and heavy and just icky, it's not you. It's not your strength. If it feels hard, it still could be your strength. Think about starting a new job. That can be hard and frustrating because it's new, but it doesn't mean that that job is not for you, right? So this is leaning into your intuition a bit, where if it feels like, oh my gosh, this is not who I am, then it's not leaning into your strengths, okay? The third thing is implementing 1 small manageable step at a time. Just 1, get that under control, start the next one, get that under control, start the next one, and move forward from there, versus a ton of steps all at once. That's just going to lead to burnout. And the 4th thing is, how are you going to maintain your results? Do you have a strategy in place to be able to maintain what you've built? We don't want to put all this work into something to shortly have it fall apart, right? So some things you don't need a strategy. Some things it's just going through, you know, the normal routine and rhythm. Like for our meal planning, that's something that I just have to go through the normal rhythm every single month. There's not really a maintain strategy other than doing the thing, right? But for something like cleaning out a pantry, there would need to be a strategy in place to maintain what you've built, because you're not gonna go through the steps of taking everything out of your pantry and reorganizing it like you did, you know, to get it to where it's at. So make sure you have some kind of a maintenance, a way to maintain your end results. Now, I would love to know from you, so put them in the comments, reach out to me, send me a private message, shoot me an email, follow me on Instagram, just get in touch with me. I would love to know from you which one of these 4 things you, 1, either have overlooked the most in the past, or 2, the thing that would be the hardest you think for you to implement. And that would be visualize the end result and the process, play into your strengths, implement 1 small manageable thing at a time versus the whole shebang, or a plan to maintain your results. All right, my friend, I hope that this supported you. I will see you on our next coffee chat. Bye-bye.